Today we're playing Narc, a 2005 budget title from Midway, and another one of those strange games I for some reason had as a kid that this format gives me an excuse to go back to and finish. Narc is weird, but it's also a perfect example of what many games were trying to do at the time. Be gritty, be mature, be gangster. And in trying to do so, look absolutely ridiculous. Nowadays gaming is undeniably mainstream. The big industries no longer really care how gaming looks because, hey, we're established now. We don't gotta prove nothing to nobody. Not even the courts. It was a bit different in the noughts, or at least it felt different. Gaming wasn't cool, and it wanted to be. There were a few games that managed it and sold gangbusters, and chief amongst them was the GTA series. The 3D era of Grand Theft Auto changed how games were viewed in pop culture. Each entry was seen as stylish, brash, cocky, and self-assured. They're not nerd shit. Wanna know what else was hip? Hop. Rap was in. Cars, guns, and bling. That is the whitest fucking thing I've ever... So, there are a lot of open and semi-open world games that wanted to be GTA but grittier, gimmickier, gangsterier. This even infected established series. GTA but with more bars, but not the kind you go behind, except for true crime and, Narc. Even if modelling the police station interior wasn't quite in the budget. This rash of games wasn't all bad. We got some good out of it. Def Jam New York, true crime is stupid, but entertainingly so, and that led to Sleeping Dogs. I'm almost certain this trend got us Jak 2, which has one of gaming's funniest spoken lines.
I'm gonna kill Praxis!
Though I put this down more to the era's fascination with grit more so than gangs. But it also led to a lot of garbage. We got the term GTA killer because it's the Fidel Castro of the gaming world. It does not go down easy. But here's a nasty little secret about GTA's style. It seemed cool because it's irreverent, but it is nerd shit. It didn't draw from contemporary pop culture, but from old crime movies. The 3D era of GTA is the result of a film buff throwing everything they love into a new medium. If you also like these films, you'll see the inspiration clear as day and can similarly indulge. If not, that lack of context doesn't really take anything away since, more importantly, it's all threaded together through a fun and for many novel open-world sandbox. In this regard, GTA felt honest. Not trying to be cool, just something with a genuine passion. A passion either ignored or misinterpreted by its contemporaries who just wanted a piece of the action. As such, many of these gangster games feel, comparatively, inauthentic. In active pursuit of being cool, they just kneecap themselves, tripping and falling into the garbage pile of history. And it's in here that we find Narc. So I booted it up, streamed it to some friends, and we found ourselves rolling with laughter at its dated tone and off-kilter gameplay. It's a game that tried to do everything everyone else was doing, save driving, on a tight budget, and with one unique gimmick. Yeah, we're getting demonetized today. Those drugs you confiscate, they're your power-ups. It was a hilarious few hours, and I knew it would need its time in the... Well, not the sun, it's always night here because the sun is not gritty. Get the fuck out of here, sun. But then, as I kept playing, this game surprised me since it's actually far from all bad. So, let's take a trip through Narc and see if it deserved to be forgot. Does it belong in the pile?
Streets, man, I'm coming with heat. No, I don't mean guns unless you want some. And if you want some beef, dog, prepare to get beat. Yeah, I do got guns and I'm a cockwad.
Well, one of the two tracks commissioned for the game is making a pro-pile argument. Jelly Joe's NARC. This man did 2 Midway intros in his short time working with the company, both for games that were getting completely dunked on by better alternatives. I can't speak for his NBA track, but I have 3 pointers for this one. It boasts about a feature not actually in the game. It says, it's a Midway exclusive, baby, as if that means anything. And besides that, is just incredibly generic. Overall, it doesn't make a great case for itself, or for the game. Jelly's tenure with Midway clearly didn't get him where he wanted to be, as the only other track of his I can find is I Wanna Be Famous. A song about how he wants to be famous. Which, as your sole legacy to leave, is a pretty tragic one. Worse than that, even the menu doesn't respect Joe. It interrupts him with what may be the shoddiest attract mode I've ever seen. We're gonna go through this shot by shot because frankly, I love it. We start with an establishing shot in the exciting locale of an underpass, with protagonist Jack Fazensky flashing his badge. Not that you can see it since his framing is impressively skewed and cuts the badge off. Having immediately excited and/or confused the audience, it brings things down a little, as other leading man Markus slides down a ladder, desperate to escape. Yeah, this is the second feature they felt fit to ring us in with. Sliding down ladders. Cut to an actually okay shot of Jack shooting, which leads into our first bit of continuity, revealing that Jack is gunning down attackers. This seems okay until you realise that the HUD is wrong. He's also not doing too well. Next up we have Markus torching a pile of coke. Nothing wrong here, besides me thinking that a drug cop would want to confiscate that, but I'm barking up the wrong tree for realism.
Now, did you guys do any field research? Did you actually go out there and see what it's like to be a narcotics officer, or are you guys just going with?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of going with it's a game, and we you know.
Who was that guy? Next up is a free cam shot where they've forgotten to turn the HUD off and are struggling to walk Jack into frame. Markus blows himself up. Beat cop Jack arrests a prostitute, followed by Markus blowing something else up. And because they once again forgot to disable the HUD, you can see that they've cheated themselves far more ammo than you would ever get for the rocket launcher. The insanity continues as Jack unloads an SMG at a crowd of civilians for no reason. Markus fights a boss while Jack annihilates this woman, which, yeah, that makes me want to play a game. We then have a flurry of exciting mechanics. Markus shoot dodging down an empty street for no reason, not an enemy in sight. An oddly distant shot of a grapple throw. Shimmying! The exact same shot of Jack shooting but with a different costume. Beating on a suspect. And Jack dive tackling a fellow cop. Then finally... yeah, that about sums it up. I won't knock missing with the sniper rifle in this game, as we'll get to, but no, fuck it, I also respect not bothering for a second take. What charming garbage. A tour de farce of game systems thrown together with next to no craft or care. Attract modes in the home are a means to avoid causing burn-in on CRT screens, but this is now forever burned into my mind. Yeah, I'm excited. Let's hit the streets. We open with Jack Fazensky struggling to think of a good comeback.
Aren't you gonna read me my rights, Fazensky?
You have the right to shut the hell up.
Screw you!
Character established, we cut across town to a police standoff. DEA agent Markus Hill tries to take charge of a situation, but the cops aren't having it.
Don't move in until I give the word.
Yeah, right.
He's going for the gun!
Well, thank God someone is paying attention. And our perp, street dealer Eddie Jackson, drops a mysterious drug. Everyone is clearly annoyed at Markus, so he doubles down and gets everyone killed.
Hey,
What are you kidding? You could pick this asshole up with a magnet.
Good going. The game promised we'd be playing as bad cops, but I thought that meant dirty, not shit. Man, I've heard of shooting up, but this is ridiculous. Gameplay begins, Eddie's infinite ammo drug wears off, and we gotta chase him into an alleyway. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we're emulating today. There is a PC port, released in 2008. Basically some last-ditch cash grab while Midway was shutting down. But we're not missing much by emulating since it is a direct console port, which means there is a 2008 PC title hard locked to 25 frames per second. Here's what happens when you unlock it. Also, I've got to invert to uninvert my controls. Is Eddie still back there? Great. We'll go over the shooting more in a bit, but let's just say this is a game that does most of the work for you. We're a crack shot, and I haven't even touched the stuff yet. With Jackson down, Markus calls Police Captain Kowalski.
Captain, that guy should not have gotten up. I know, Markus. This could be the start of a dark day.
Yeah, night. Anyway, later that night, Jack comes to meet with Uncle Kowalski, and he's less than pleased to see Markus.
What the hell is he doing here?
These two used to be partners until a falling out led to Markus joining the DEA, and they've put themselves in charge of investigating whatever it was Eddie was taking, so Markus is back in town.
I got 8 dead cops on my watch, and you picked tonight to take creative license with your badge.
I'm an artist like that.
Okay, before I move on, 2 things about this scene. 1, who switched off all the lights on this street? 2, the scene ends with Kowalski and Jack crossing the road, for no reason, only for gameplay to resume back by the police station. I think Kowalski's getting senile in his old age. Oh god, stop! Wait, this video's getting demonetized anyway. Continue. I said this was a budget title. Well, that budget was spent on CGI, medium-name actors, and most of all, music licenses, and bless them for it. If any of you ever meet Ron Perlman, please ask if he remembers Narc. I'm confident he'll think you made it up. The soundtrack is hilarious. A mix of Curtis Mayfield, Happy Mondays, and The Toys, right next to DMX and Cypress Hill. And I mean right next to. Not only is the selection a sort of hilarious time and tonal mush, the music is tied to segments of the tiny open world and always resets as it shuffles. So I heard the opening notes of Pusher Man, Freddy's Dead, Step On, 2 Joints, over and over again. The other track that they commissioned, Heard Me Narkin', is relegated to the ass end of town. Sorry, Point Game, you got second billing to Jelly Joe, the man who wants to be famous. Now, I like most of these songs, but god, Narc made me sick of them. Their implementation is terrible. The mood changes on a block-by-block basis, even though it's all dank and depressing. Then we shoot up a drug lab and suddenly Grandmaster Flash kicks in. It's funny. When I was putting this video together, in my head I just thought, oh god, the drugs are gonna get this video in trouble. I somehow forgot this is more or less a soundtrack with an interactive element. It's a good one, don't get me wrong, it's just that absolutely none of these tracks really fit beyond the fact that they are songs about drugs. And even then, they don't care what these songs say about drugs, just that they're there. Anyway, Uncle Captain is pissed at Jack for not being among the men that Marcus got killed, so he's busted down to beat cop until he can earn his lack of stripes. What follows is a tutorial on policing and punching, as a series of cops with nothing better to do show Jack how to beat people senseless. We learn how to flash our badge,
Police.
arrest people, and everything that can happen in between. The melee combat can at best be called functional and unobstructive. Granted, that's mostly because it's largely optional and incredibly easy. There are combos with knockdown and knockback effects, but who cares when enemies aren't even complex enough to overcome mashing spin kicks infinitely? And the player isn't punished for gunning down melee opponents. Disarming and arresting foes is really done just to top up reputation or for the hell of it. We also have multi-directional throws from a grapple, but sadly there's so few environmental factors that this feature rarely gets to shine. Outside of being really funny. The biggest problem exists in grappling with its bizarre imprecision, which occasionally had me grabbing people to the side of or even through my target. I never trusted my own hand. And arresting people is done with a golf swing prompt. The hardest cuffing winds up being the one in the tutorial. No, please, stop helping me. No! Who thinks to put a prompt up after you've been told to mash? One thing about this is it's encouraged to soften perps up first, since depending on the amount of damage dealt, the gauge fills up at different speeds. This just made everything harder. I'd prefer if it just made the area of success larger and kept the speed consistent, because it meant I could never get a good reflex on it. Alright, have fun in there. And lastly, we have a limit break, called a super bust. Jesus, forget jail, we're jumping right to the execution. One thing I love is that it pays to just wail on cuffed suspects. It costs no reputation and builds meter. So everyone on the street are potential pill and power piñatas.
Nice work, Jack.
Thanks for the help, fellow officer. Overall, the melee system is okay. Hardly arresting, but it works. It feels punchy, swapping to and from it feels fluid, its control issues are relatively minor. I wish grapples had better targeting and that I could cuff from a ground pound, but overall, it's punching above its weight, being less cumbersome than higher budget contemporaries which also tried to mix shooting and melee, less rigid than True Crime and less arbitrary than Dead to Rights. It's even beating out some modern games by not cocking up surrounding systems. We also learn about badge rating, basically our rep. If it falls too low, we're back at Beat Cop and we have to solve random crimes until we restore our standing. Basically what we're doing now. We can also drop off the drugs and money we confiscate for extra good boy points. High badge rating does have some effects. It boosts our psychic power, meaning people are more likely to surrender outright than put up a fight. So, the benefit of playing the game well is that you don't have to engage with it as much. A class of reward that I'm always a little dicey on, you know? It's not like hitting a cool shortcut in a Sonic game or anything rewarding like that, it's just less interesting. This does help us stockpile drugs and dosh much faster, but if we're already a good cop, why would we need these?
I think you've learned your lesson.
As soon as Jack's back on the force, there's corruption afoot. The drugs taken from Eddie Jackson have gone missing from evidence, so Uncle puts us on the tail of his biggest suspect, Officer McDade, asking us to investigate and find out if something shady is going down.
Head over to the police yard and pick up a shotgun microphone.
Thanks for tossing it on the ground for me. I'd ask if you just lobbed it out the window if they weren't all bricked up. What follows is more tutorial. How to tail people, climb ladders, gather evidence, but more importantly, how to be a corrupt cop. We follow McDade to his cadre of corrupt coppers. McDade confirms he grabbed the stuff we're after, so mission complete, right? Hold your horses. The four talk about provoking some dealers so they can kill him and grab their stuff. Hey uncle, are you listening? Have you fallen asleep?
We need all the evidence we can get.
Sure.
This has gone to shit. Get your ass down there and help him, Jack.
Want me to grab the casings? So we dive in, and since Jack is the king of corruption, he's welcomed into their scheme. But not before we have to light up and prove we're cool. Yeah, this is our introduction to drugs.
We don't ever force the player to take a drug.
Hey, shut up. We're talking about Narc. This introduction to drugs is pretty weird from a teaching perspective. I mean, sure, it tells you the button to use them, but then it's like, alright, we have a screen filter. Is that it? Maybe time a car passing by or something to show that weed makes the world slower and so it could be useful for making quick decisions. It's also kind of messy since using drugs repeatedly lessens their effects as you build tolerance, so it may seem worse if we use it again in a shootout later in the mission where it would be more helpful. It may put the player off drugs, and who wants that? Also, I just committed a crime while trying to find out if these guys are committing crime, after finding out they're committing crime, and are guilty of the crime we're after in the first place. Then we're told about a crime they're planning to commit. There's a drug deal going down and they're 500 short, so we're given some stuff to sell. Which we will, because we really can't help ourselves. So, let's quickly talk about the free roam, because there isn't much to say. Let's put it like this. If you treat it less like GTA and more like a cops and robbers themed team deathmatch, there's a solid 20 minutes of fun here. And yes, that's the pace. If I walk down a block and there's less than 3 simultaneous crimes going on, that's the slow moment. The problem is, if you try and actually engage with the game's more unique systems, it all falls apart. The issue is that being corrupt, dealing drugs, arresting innocent people, well, there's no gain to it. I mean, you make money, but all that's good for is Protodone to reset your drug dependencies. $500 will get you that much health. It's cheaper to die, and at least that way you get to keep your money and walk to the station. So I started abusing the rooftops for free top-ups. You can buy drugs from dealers, but you never will. Busting them will make them drop the drugs, and their cash, and boost your rep. So you're quadruple incentivized against doing it. The most confounding feature here is the weapons van. You're never told it exists, it's not flagged up on the map, and it appears totally at random. Every time I wanted it, which was fortunately rare anyway because guns are pretty plentiful, it was nowhere to be seen. Whenever I was strapped, for cash, it would turn up to taunt me. And dealing drugs actually makes money slower than just busting criminals and keeping the loot. I love how the residents of Crime City, USA get really freaked out if you offer them drugs. I didn't think they'd be so sheltered. Plus, if you deal to an undercover cop, you're inescapably instantly reset to beat cop and lose everything. Oh, come on! Where's your evidence? On top of that, if you're spotted taking drugs, a cop will just run over and instantly knock you out. And then, when all of this eventually drives you postal, you can't even go on a rampage because Kowalski will call and tell you to cut it out. And you will. So, the best way to play is to not engage with the more unique mechanics, since the punishment for getting caught, which is basically a dice toss, is being forced to play the free roam without the option to continue until you bust enough crime. Which turns out to be the fullest, most feature-complete aspect of the free roam anyway, and it pays better. It's a weird cycle where the game lacks the depth to make the punishment distinct from the gameplay. That's outside of the fact that once you work your way back up to detective, you lose all your stuff. That stings. You kinda did all this for nothing. It honestly reminds me of those really shallow morality systems that got really popular in AAA games around the PS360 era, where they tried to make evil seem worthwhile because it paid out more right away, but it was never really budgeted properly, so evil just came off as shallow and forced. Meanwhile, good had better rewards anyway. But this isn't a budget PS2 corrupt cop action game. This is sleaze that's ahead of its time. And as far as free roam goes, that's it. There's also hidden stashes and free card Monty. You can't hire prostitutes to recover your health. There aren't many random events and they trigger so frequently that you'll see all of them within 10 minutes. And the response to all of them is the same thing. It's a rather threadbare sandbox with very skewed priorities. I don't know why these lot are bothering. It turns out crime does pay, but interrupting it pays a lot better. And yes, we do deal tons of drugs to fund a drug deal to be 100% certain these guys are guilty of the crime they confess to. I'm a little embarrassed by everyone on the force right now, so I'm trying to keep things on the down low.
Alright, boys, you got the merchandise?
Yeah, so?
Look, let's just make the exchange and get this over with.
Fuck you!
I judge the cops, but the criminals aren't exactly pushing them to be better. I shoot this fucker 34 times, but he can't die because he's scripted to do my job and kill Gallo. At least, I think that's Gallo. Fuck 50 Cent, this guy is a $1.85. It reminds me of the ending of Kane and Lynch, where there's some random goon coded to shoot Kane's daughter. Me and a friend did this mission twice in a row back in the day to try and stop it, but he forfeits immortality just to kill the kid. The sequel makes his sacrifice non-canon. Spoilers for Kane and Lynch, I guess. Another middling game from the mid-noughts that I'm kinda fond of. Didn't care for Dog Days. Anyway, we stopped this guy from having a rap career, and waves of dealers come to avenge him. So let's go over shooting. I kinda wanna let the game do the talking, since it's already taken it upon itself to do most of the aiming. It's a bit like a torch where the batteries are only just starting to go. Most of the time, it works. You gesture vaguely in a direction, and you'll light up whatever is there, but sometimes it fizzles and you have to bash it a bit to bring it back to life. There is manual aiming and weirder yet leaning for if you want to feel involved, and I don't think anyone told the enemies about it because this just lets you break some encounters, scoring easy kills with little to no resistance. Though it is clear that they have accounted for this mechanic, since occasionally enemies are placed high above an arbitrary line where your auto-aim stops. So, unlike most of our shots, it doesn't quite line up. As for the enemies, they're not very dangerous and go down quick even to our weakest guns. Once you get dual pistols or an assault rifle, you are more or less an unstoppable tidal wave of death. Narc isn't that hard. Most of the time it's a pretty cathartic romp where you just plow through waves of enemies like they're nothing. I don't need anything to enjoy this. Murder is my drug. With everyone in the neighborhood dead, we collect the stolen evidence off our bother in arms, and finally decide to narc on the other two.
You're a dead man, Fazensky.
It may not seem like much, but this was premium wit back in the day. Fazensky is definitely not on Jack Slate's level.
Do you have any last words? Not yet.
But he's nowhere near as bad as Nick Kang.
Oh shit, it's dim sum time.
And with the road cops caught, we're pretty much right back where we started, and we look like idiots. I mentioned that my memories of this game are skewed. My revisit was partly because I wrongly remembered it coming out to a critical panning. I can't say where I saw it, but I swear I read one magazine say Narc would go down in history as one of gaming's worst. So I've always been a little bit curious why no one ever talked about it. Well, it turns out its reception wasn't a massacre, just middling. And when I booted it up for myself and showed it to a couple different groups of friends, we were actually loving it.
Police!
Tutorial, soften me up a bit.
Buy me flowers, take me out to dinner.
Oh, sick! I can do throws?
Throw me into the car, man.
Whoa!
Oh my god, that was fucking sick!
Yeah,
this game is sick!
This game does seem like a lot of fun, honestly. What the fuck, who started?
Oh my god! Jesus!
Beat your heart out, Ronald Reagan.
You'll have a rip penalty if you do that. Objective complete. The cutscenes, the music, the unrelenting insanity of the free roam. We thought it was a busted jank game that was unintentionally hilarious and unfairly forgotten for that. But it's as I got into the special assignments that a thought started creeping up on me. I like the special assignments. They're side missions, barely less constructed than the main ones, only there's no overarching story, so they're a bit freer and weirder. As far as I noticed, there's no benefit or incentive to do them beyond just more gameplay, which I do respect because these missions do not feel that phoned in. They're different and varied, and it does feel like Narc is trying to give people their money's worth, even if a lot is going against it. Despite all of that, we were enjoying ourselves at its expense. The first mission had us rolling.
Jack, we're getting reports of snipers all over the city.
Jack is me on the computer again.
Snipers all over the city. What? That's the special. That's like that's not a priority.
This game is amazing.
The first mission had us rolling. We're laughing at it because up until now, Narc had seemingly been trying to come off as gritty and unironically cool and failing pretty spectacularly. And then this mission, without a nudge and a wink, says that snipers are all over town, the cops' own snipers can't dislodge them. So, Jack casually requisitions the police grenade launcher to do it himself, which Ron Perlman grants. It's bonkers. The second special assignment was no less insane.
We've gotten several reports of what appear to be jumpers on the city rooftops. Investigate. Take them down, Agent.
A series of bizarre vignettes where we try to stop people from abusing the quick travel. It stands out because this is the first time Narc is so obviously trying for comedy. It's pretty dark in all honesty. We didn't stop laughing at it, but something felt a bit different afterwards. The tone was a bit more grim, but, well, I was mostly weighing up something else. Whether this game was playing it quite as straight as I thought, whether what seemed like an attempt at being gritty and hardcore was actually knowingly excessive, whether the try-hardiness of every character, the comically disastrous state of the city, and the unlikable quippy leads weren't shallow caricatures, but a satire of how crime and the war on drugs was being perceived. Yeah, I didn't think this video would be taking a turn like this when I started. The thing is, this isn't totally baseless. As many of you have likely already commented, Narc 2005 is a remake of a 1988 arcade game. The original Narc is a hard, hyper-violent shoot-'em-up where you, as a Narc super cop, wage a one- or two-man war against the evil Crack, K-R-A-K, ran by Mr. Big, carving a bloody path through an army of his drug dealers. I'm not actually a big fan of playing it, but it has some cool ideas. You get more points for arresting enemies, which necessitates taking risk. I like blowing people up. And it did get a couple of real laughs out of me, like Mr. Big having giant portraits of himself with "me" written on them. And Kinky Pinky, who, as the manual notes, can't be arrested because he has no drugs on him. That's fucking brilliant. This guy, totally innocent. It also just has the original beat for enemy variety. Killer clowns, guys on PCP, and organised gangster firing lines. The only enemy the remake brought over are guys who toss needles at you, which, it's kinda weak. The loading screens claim there are enemies on each of the drugs who behave differently, but I doubt they're actually implemented. Maybe they just die too quick for me to notice. To get to the point, and this ties back into Kinky Pinky and him not counting as a criminal, is that Narc 1988 is a blatant satire of the war on drugs, especially Just Say No, which, come on Nancy.
Thousands of children have formed Just Say No clubs and have pledged to lead a drug-free life. I hope you will too.
Your husband worked hard to flood the hood with crack. Don't tell him not to buy it. I also love how Acclaim, in their manual for the NES port, says that Narc has a strong anti-drug message, and they've signed up with Just Say No International. I really hope this was meant as a jab, because putting a group like Just Say No in the position of having to embrace a violent video game, another boogeyman of the day, that would be the funniest shit. Plus, I love the balls of claiming Narc has a strong anti-drug message. It's like saying a monster truck rally has a strong anti-car message. But it's exactly the kind of move Eugene Jarvis, one of Narcade's original designers, would have pulled. Since the company that made it, Williams Electronics, didn't have a lot of money to work with, the team instead focused on eye-catching visuals, extreme violence, and biting social commentary to draw people to their machines, saying the small budget was actually freeing because it let them get more outrageous. Is Narcade actually satire? I lean yes, but Jarvis is a bit more coy on the matter, saying that it's up to interpretation since that means there's more discussion to be had, and that open-endedness gives it greater staying power and works better than being preachy, a sentiment which I do agree with. To me, NARCADE is a sensationalist joke, making fun of the war on drugs by portraying its logical extreme. The problem is, all this does is make Narco 5 even more confusing. This is the loosest remake ever. At a glance, all it really got right is that we're a buddy cop duo and that's it. It doesn't even have driving. Even the original had that. But maybe, somehow, if I take what Jarvis said about it being up to interpretation and give 05 too much credit, then this still carries some of the spirit of the original. Still a riff on the war on drugs, one with a more modern, downbeat, cynical approach. But yeah, I really actually doubt that. Interviews with Warren Klein, producer on the new Narc, yeah, that guy, well, he kind of throws the original under the bus, saying that games have matured since 1988 and people want realistic, gritty experiences. Which is fucking rich when Narc has all the grit of a CSI episode acted out by angry puppets. I'd easily call NARCADE the more mature of the two for knowing what it is and not taking itself super seriously. So as Narco 5 went on, that feeling waned, and digging up what little I could makes me think that no, they weren't trying to be clever, they were just trying to leverage the name to hawk a trend-chasing, budget free-roamer with a drug gimmick. But whenever something really stupid happened, I couldn't be absolutely certain the game wasn't winking at me. Though maybe it's just a twitch. We finally switch to Marcus as the plot actually begins. Eddie Jackson was a small-time dealer until a few weeks ago, when he got his hands on a drug called Liquid Soul, which quickly created his fortune. And since we have no leads, Marcus hits the streets. And the dealers.
I heard there's a supplier in town.
Cheers. By now we've been introduced to all the core features, but I respect that Narc really does keep trying to introduce new stuff pretty much throughout. The interrogation feature is simple, but makes sense for what it's doing. Then, as we find ourselves on the tail of a potential source, we also find ourselves shimmying, sprinting, sneaking, and snapping, and that's in this mission alone. You know, this game doesn't feel like one from 2005. I really hate terms like outdated or ahead of its time. Features are features, and they're either used well or they're not, but fuck, I've got to be a hypocrite on this one. I've probably been a hypocrite elsewhere. Obviously, it's a remake of a game from the 80s, but so much of its music actually predates the game it's remaking. The aiming system also feels really antiquated and awkward, but I respect it for trying to get out of the way. No, that's not what I mean. Okay, that's one of the worst aspects of the aiming. The crosshair exists in two places at once. The stealth sections also feel like ones out of Zelda. They're kind of boring and restrictive, and if you're spotted, you lose instantly. Plus, in an absurd move with an absurd move, this game gives you a stealth knockout, which is neither stealthy nor a knockout. This is stupid because it means this move is only useful during its introduction, and then remembering it exists later will screw you. The tone is pretty much of its time. This is what every gritty PS2 era game was going for, using celebrity voices for respectability, and it is pretty much aping every mechanic that was going around at the time and doing some of them surprisingly well. It's like a museum trip for design trends of the time. And then, in some ways, it's ahead of its time. I already mentioned the shallow morality. It beat Uncharted to boring climbing segments by 2 years, and well, the platforming in this game is really bad actually. It's Narc, not fucking New Jack City. Luckily, it's pretty infrequent. Its tiny open world was unimpressive when other games were only getting bigger, but as time goes by and sheer size is no longer impressive, while denser content is, this has become something of a feather in its cap. It actually has incredibly forgiving checkpointing, which is the last thing I expected. You never lose a needless amount of progress. Not to mention when you fail out of a mission, you go back to free roam where you can resupply, get health, get guns. It's incredibly lenient and kind of impressive. And it beat GTA to character switching by 8 years. Though Rockstar did do the Warriors, so we'll call that a tie. Okay, it's not that impressive since the two characters in Narc don't really control any differently. Though it does have infinite sprint. I love the sprinting in this. You flatten everyone you crash into like they're nothing. Okay, obviously, infinite sprint isn't always better, but hey, GTA never struck me as a game that needed limited sprint, and Narc had the same thought. Narc's weird like that. For all I say it was trend chasing, they were clearly thinking for themselves while making it, and this game does do a few individual mechanics better. Our investigation leads to a meet. After snapping some photos, the police launch a raid. And we get a pretty cool objective to try and score an arrest while a gunfight rages on around us.
Where does liquid soul come from, asshole? Hey, stop!
This puts us onto their supplier, a guy named Uncle Lou who deals weapons for drugs, though we quickly learn that whoever promised him liquid soul is trying to cut him loose. Well, turns out his boss is the Chinese ambassador and he's due his own meeting. We head on over there and find out it's a setup. His suppliers are on the way over to kill him too. So we have to grab the assassin's sniper rifle and defend him from waves of attackers. Now, Narc is an easy game for the most part, but it has some crazy difficulty spikes and for a while I thought this was the worst. Every flick of the stick sends the scope careening several feet. I found tracking and landing consistent shots nigh impossible. And so the ambassador dies. I try jumping down to street level to muck in, but I'm not allowed to be spotted. So back up to the roof I go. And then I realise, oh hey, weed slows down time and I don't have any, so I'll just go and stock Markus up before resuming the mission. Yeah, one annoying thing is that you can't character swap during free roam, so I had no way of getting Markus ready ahead of time, except by failing out of one of his missions when they swapped me to him. Maybe the two-player characters should have had a shared inventory since they play exactly the same anyway. But then something strange happened. During certain missions, the game turns off random crime so the player isn't unfairly messed with. That's cool. But during this mission, it will remain off, even if you return to the free roam, which is fucking ridiculous. What if I need to fill my badge meter or get better guns? Plus, the game has put me in an awkward position. I've won. I stopped crime. If I complete this mission, all I'll do is bring it back. And, well, it turns out I need crime to justify my existence fighting it. Luckily for the criminals of the world, I'm able to find some hidden stashes and get 2 lousy baggies. I better not fuck this one up. And then I learned that for some reason drugs prevent manual aim. So, no toking aim with the sniper rifle. That's bloody stupid. Luckily I still had the silenced pistol left over from last mission, so I got really lucky and barely pulled this one out.
Ambassador. He's making a call, but there's some...
I'll take it. Then, another funny thing happened when I showed a friend on stream.
I have an idea. What if you do weed and gun them all down with the M16, but like really fast so they don't know what's happening?
You're not allowed to get spotted, so you can't use your loud weapons. I got a save state.
What if you shoot the grenade launcher at him?
Actually, wait. Did they bullshit me? Did they bullshit me? Because I went down on the street once and they said, you've been spotted, you're out.
Yeah, because you're in the street. You're not on the roof.
I just assumed they gave me a silenced weapon. Man, I should never assume, because my assumptions will always be fucking shit, it turns out. Yeah, it turns out the enemies won't spot you if you just spray them down with an M16. I'll admit, I could have stood to experiment more. You shouldn't trust what this game tells you. A later segment implies you're not allowed to kill enemies during a mission. But nah, you can kill them all. Though I guess he did say no unnecessary bloodshed, and I just deemed it so. Now, this is admittedly a terrible lead into what I want to talk about, because, for the most part, I actually like how Narc handles its drugs. It's a complicated system of power-ups with situational benefits and drawbacks. Like during that section where we had to arrest a guy during a gunfight. It's doable sober, weed can help, but ecstasy disables enemy aggression, which makes it situationally ideal. Crack only makes killing marginally faster, but during escorts and defense sections in tight quarters, it can really help. As does weed's slowdown effect during gunfights in areas with innocent civilians who you may need to avoid. And you have to pick your times to use these drugs and use them in moderation, since their efficacy will wane and you risk addiction and blackouts, which can make whatever mission you're doing substantially trickier, or even just end it there and then. Plus, as mentioned, the drugs do disable manual aim alongside removing the HUD. You're sacrificing accuracy and situational awareness to become better at a specific thing, and it can backfire on you if you haven't taken distant enemies into account or if you need to swap weapons. But then, I have to admit, I've only cited 3 useful drugs. Quaaludes pause the world and give you binocular vision, a feature that's never necessary. LSD is only useful during free roam since it lets you see who's a criminal and, well, they're not exactly shy to begin with. And speed, well, look, I love the Sonic series, but I can uncap the frame rate. There are chase sections in the game, but they're programmed to always outpace you until they reach their destination, so speed only makes these slightly easier. This aspect definitely could have been done better, but for the free power-ups that are useful, I like how they weren't just straight power-ups, but had scenarios they excelled in and long and short-term drawbacks. This actually made them feel dangerous in a way I believe the game was going for. The ambassador runs to his limo, which Jack has bugged with a wire, so we overhear a call between him and his contact, the Enforcer.
If it wasn't for a mystery sniper on the roof, I'd be dead right now. Was he one of yours? Sniper? Yes.
So, the Enforcer is equally confused, but since the guy isn't dead, she just plays along. And now that Lou thinks we're on his side, we can escort the limo by foot. This is why you stock up on badge points. I need that buffer zone where I can get away with a couple dozen innocent bystanders. Kowalski has no qualms about demoting you mid-gunfight, and you will comply. Don't blame me, blame the auto-aim. Markus loses track of the limo, so it falls to Olympic sprinter Jack to pelt it after the thing.
Hey, fucking cunt. You're not paid for that.
Yeah, there's only one person in this city allowed to do that, and that's me. I love that the game doesn't care that it doesn't have driving. It just treats chasing a car on foot as a matter of course. We arrest the driver and he tells us that he dropped the ambassador off at the meat plant. Jack happens to know its owner, Jose, so he lets Markus know to come over and give him some backup while he gets a head start. This leads into a shootout which could win an award for the least fitting stage music I've ever heard.
I'm just saying, why do we all have to wear the same outfit? I mean, it's just, don't you think that's kind of gay?
Hey, get back to work, dickheads!
And what's even weirder than that is that this music is actually foreshadowing what's about to happen, which is fucking crazy. I didn't think for a second they listened to a single lyric for any of the songs they've got. They definitely didn't care that Pusher Man is at best ambivalent to the life of a drug dealer. They just thought, drug song. Granted, this song isn't exactly on point either. Jack slaughters his way to the freezer, but then runs into 3 guys and just bottles it. He's then confronted by Jose, an old friend who looks like he's in the wrong game.
I thought you were kicked off the force. I was sad when you stopped coming around, man. We had some good times, huh? Shit, man. You understand I gotta kill you, right? I mean, I got no choice. So, look, I left some crack for you in case you want to get high one last time, you know? Then, like, 10 minutes from now, someone's gonna be back to, you know, make you go bye-bye. Oh, you shouldn't have come after me, Jack. I thought we were friends.
So, we suddenly have character depth. But don't worry, they'll shovel some dirt into that, as Markus comes in.
Yeah, sure looks like Jack came through here.
He says that so casually like, oh yeah, me old partner Jack, the Ripper. Jose has an interesting character design and a really lame boss fight. You win by backpedaling, there's no hook to it. And it's then that we get the best cutscene in the game, so I'll just let it play.
You have the right to remain stoned. It's all bullshit. You have the right to remain.
So, that's how it went. Jack has a history of drugs, leading Markus to abandon him and join the DEA. So yeah, the bottle may have been setting Jack's twist up, but that's a song about alcohol abuse. I'll give it half a point for trying, but still.
God damn you, Jack! God damn you!
I'm alright. Thanks.
This twist is really annoying in-game because, well, as Markus, I can take just as many drugs, be just as corrupt, do everything Jack can do. But he still gets instantly pissed at him for seemingly relapsing and taking crack when he was locked in a freezer awaiting execution. It doesn't make his anger seem in any way justified. I know this is a budget game, but spitballing here, maybe Markus shouldn't be able to take drugs, but in return he controls better, hits harder, maybe his DEA position gets him easy access to bigger guns. Meanwhile, Jack is scrappier, a bit weaker, maybe his aim wobbles a bit or his auto-aim is looser, but he can take drugs to temporarily offset his weaknesses. Obviously this would take more work, and whether it'd work out fun or not we'll never know, but I'm trying to figure out how to not make Markus a mechanical hypocrite. I think the story doesn't like Markus either, because it's really going to start giving him the short end of the stick. But in brighter news, Jose forgot to turn off Jack's PDA when he nicked it, and he conveniently spilled that Liquid Soul was being distributed out of an old church downtown. So Jack stealthily takes out some snipers before Markus leads an assault. Props to this dealer for not cutting and running when an army of cops turned up. We storm the building and it's a cool set piece. But once we get inside, with Markus high as a kite and lab equipment strewn all over the place, not even hidden, I can't help but imagine how humiliated we should all feel that it took us this long to find out that a drug called Liquid Sodding Soul was being moved out of a church. They've been running circles around us. And now the enforcer is running away. He runs off after her, but gets ambushed outside the Randy Gaylords. DMX plays us out as Markus is taken in.
Streets with me, cause you know fucking with these streets will be. Make you wanna, then I'm gonna, cause I gotta pop, 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 pop.
In an interrogation room, Jack and Markus are joined by Kowalski with the news that the law answers to a higher power.
That would be me. Fellas, I don't have a lot of time.
The Riddler.
I work for an organization called NARC.
Come again?
Narcotics Assessment, Reconnaissance, and Containment. I'm Agent Daniels, Chief of Operations.
I don't get it.
I know. It's hard to believe there's someone out there bigger than you. But admit it, your outfit's been feeling a bit tight lately.
No? We've been acting with quite a lot of leniency. We just stormed a church, if you haven't noticed.
This clown here's been holding you back.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Joker over there was directing us. You're not good at this, Daniels. Luckily for you, you're dealing with morons. Anyway, as the room refuses to stop spinning, Ron Perlman is kicked out of the story as we're conscripted into Narc and getting shipped out to stop Liquid Soul.
So pack your bags. You're leaving for China in 2 hours.
Kung Fu?
Yes, Jack. Kung Fu.
Pop, 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 nigga.
Okay, this game's cool. I'm just gonna start ending sections like that. Rest in peace, Father Darkman X. Now we have access to the Asia button. And once we hit it, there's no way back to the States. So I take one last look over whatever this town is.
Rockland.
Rockland. And I think, yeah, let's blow this joint.
Pop, 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 nigga.
The second half opens with Jack and Markus in Kowloon, awaiting their pickup at the docks. Better known as...
I'm sorry I lost my shit at the meatpacking plant, alright? I thought I was dead.
Jack, you're a junkie. You burned me before, and you're not burning me again. End of story.
Jack tries to apologize to Markus, but he's having none of it.
I think your ride's here.
Marcus's ride arrives and the two split up. For some reason. They're both Narc agents. They're both meant to meet with Lau. Why would they be doing that separately? Well, we get an answer, as moments later Jack is besieged by a horde of triad hitmen. The attack only ends when a police convoy runs them off, and we meet the real Detective Lau.
Where is Agent Hill?
Detective Lau just picked him up.
I am Detective Lau.
Ah, shit.
Ah, Markus, you bloody buffoon. As for now, Markus is kidnapped and we need to find out where he's being held. But I feel like leaving him hanging for a second. We're in Kowloon, so let's take a moment for ourselves. I like this hub a lot more. It's a lot nicer to look at and way more vertical and intricate. Navigating it is way more enjoyable and a fair few objectives challenge knowing your way around, both across and up and down the city. Oh, and there's water we can jump into. That said, there isn't much new here. Free Card Monty has been replaced by a dice game, but money is still worthless. They didn't even update the doomsday signs. And the people are fucking terrifying.
Damn.
What's going on there?
At this point in the game, people can just start countering your grapples and tossing you. This fucked with me way more than it should have done. Every grab is now a gamble. Now if you want to arrest someone, you should probably actually beat them most of the way to death. It's just safer. Something weird happened. After I beat the game, when I went to start a new one, suddenly Americans knew this tech too. There, that's your New Game Plus. The AI has spilled over. Lastly, it's on the streets of Kowloon we can finally find Liquid Soul, and I'm sad to say, it's not that interesting. It just makes all of your melee attacks instant kills, which is not really an effect that's worth a drug that instantly triggers addiction. I expected infinite ammo. I feel cheated. Plus, it means that if you use it during your first mission here, you'll kill the men you have to interrogate in a single blow, which they should have stuck to. This fails the mission and kinda gives the drug a bad first impression. Also, there's a tiny back down in here. In our inventory, Liquid Soul's icon looks a lot like a bottle. But in pre-release trailers and still above the heads of dealers, Liquid Soul is clearly represented by a needle. So I'm pretty confident that at some point they decided there was a line that had to be drawn, but never actually got all the way in replacing it. Okay, let's go get Markus. We track him down to the docks, have our second stealth segment, which was only hard before I realised Lau's warning was not a rule but a guideline, and we find our buddy.
Thanks, Jack.
Quick little escort section, and the drama between these two is over. Lau puts us onto the trail of Lucy Chen. Much like Eddie Jackson, she was small time until Liquid Soul sent her to the big leagues. She's gotten a lot further, however, having had many of her rivals assassinated, and now she's poised to control the Kowloon underworld thanks to her new product. We quickly find out that she's answering to the Enforcer, and they're the ones who tipped the Triad off about our arrival. I'll give the game credit and say I didn't call the twist of who the Enforcer was, though with hindsight, with my narration, and in compressed format, it's incredibly obvious. We then have to escort an evidence van over town. I respect that once again the game just blusters past its lack of driving by having Markus stand on the roof of a moving vehicle without hesitation. Oh fuck. So, it's a pretty straightforward escort mission. That's until...
You're an interesting man, American.
Lucy offers to buy us out, and we're given a choice. Well, this seems shady. My instincts tell me no, this is a trap.
Eat shit, lady.
She calls back later, after we've slaughtered even more of her men, and then tries to lowball us because seemingly no one in the Narciverse knows how to negotiate.
What part of eat shit didn't you get?
Meanwhile, Jack is out intercepting a drug shipment. A similarly fun mission where we have to rush over town laying down spike traps. Well, he gets an offer from one of Chen's rivals. Again, I say no. Though props to this guy for raising afterwards. This is the one person savvy enough to do that. I was actually pretty surprised when I went back to try these out, and it turns out you can go through with the deals. They don't double cross you, there's no game over. I mean, sure, you lose some badge rating, but you get away with making these deals, and you have a big pile of cash to look at.
You are under arrest.
I don't think this affects the ending either, but the game started freezing before I could test that. Maybe that's my punishment. You know, this does bring me to a thought, and that's that this game isn't corrupt enough. The leads aren't even wild enough that I'd call them cowboy cops. They're just twats. These choices are the one instance where you get to ride the line a little, and nothing really comes of it. The characters aren't even defined enough for it to much affect my view of them either way. They're still committed to taking down Liquid Soul out of some vague sense of justice, that some cutscenes would have you question whether Jack questions it. Like, that one cutscene makes Jack really interesting. He clearly thinks the law is bullshit, he doesn't really believe in it. So what's driving him to stay? The game isn't going to try and answer that, and I think it's a shame. Hell, whether or not Markus delivers the recordings, the next mission opens with Lau telling us they've gone missing and accusing Markus for it. So it's not like it matters even immediately. You just choose whether or not to get a pointless payday, and that mission doesn't actually affect anything. Though it is pretty sweet that Jack sticks up for Markus, though it is kinda heartbreaking if he did do it since these two are getting on again. I think that one flashback cutscene gave me a little taste of story and what could be, and now I'm jonesing. I want more. And the next mission is going to give me one last teeny tiny hit, and for that, it's pretty good. In a surprising twist, and only slightly contradicting what I just said, Markus comes up with a plan for Jack. A gang are about to destroy some of Lucy's stock, so why not save the day and get in her good books? Well, it works, and Jack spins a story about how he's out here on business and manages to secure a meet. The two use the opportunity to grab some photographs, but before they can actually seal the deal, a call from Daniels throws a wrench into things.
Agent Brzezinski, this is Daniels. What's your progress on
He's the police. Kill him.
The whole thing goes pear-shaped, and we need to shoot our way out.
It'll be Wild West style, just like the shootout at the OK Corral.
Jack, almost everyone died there.
What happens next is adorable. The game tries for a cinematic moment, a shootout with the two buddy cops covering each other. This really doesn't work mechanically. The scale of the battles has been so large for so long by now that this scene is a massive de-escalation, and the rigid structure makes it feel more like a tutorial. Either one of these two could easily overcome these odds. They've been doing that repeatedly. But I love how it's trying to emulate cop movie schlock in a fun way, with an odd diversion that's over almost as soon as it begins. It serves to make a very late game gunfight easier, simpler, and far less dynamic, but undeniably charming in what I can see it was going for. The inventiveness kinda slows down once we make it to Kowloon, but it does clumsily hold out until the very end. Anyway, Jack planted a tracker on the briefcase they nabbed off of him, so this mission that began with us saving Lucy's stock ends with us torching Lucy's stock. Turns out, we would have gotten just as far doing nothing. In fact, when we meet Daniels, who just did us a big fucking solid last mission, she lets us know that nothing we've done here has mattered. Narc has finally decided to be Narc. Daniels lets us know that her boys, off-screen, not us, have found the bad guys.
K-R-A-K. Crack. And don't bother with the jokes, because none of them are funny.
Huh. People have been telling me that for years, but I don't know why they lead with the acronym. So, the evil organization known as Crack, ran by Mr. Big, have been responsible for distributing Liquid Soul. Their main warehouse is using slave labor, made up of people kidnapped from the local rave scene. So, we scope out a rave. And this begins the hardest objective in the game, finding a way on top of the venue. Okay, look, the game did show me a pretty big hint, but I'm really, really stupid. I spent way too long blindly hunting for a way onto this rooftop, and I got nowhere. Though I did stumble on something fun. If you say, try and enter the club directly...
Invite. Agent Hill.
He's not supposed to be in there.
All the clubbers have been killed. Now we have no evidence linking this operation to the triads.
I have no idea how a club full of dead people doesn't constitute evidence, but we've been hazy on that term for a while. Turns out this cop who you collect a camera from will give you a hint if you stumble back to him. Maybe lead with that. It still took a bit to find this little outcropping that I have to shimmy along. Once we're there, the only thing left to make this mission difficult is Markus himself. We nab some evidence, steal an invite off of someone, and we almost make it into the club. But then one of the bouncers insults Markus's vest and he goes mental.
Oh, we got a wasted one here. Get a load of that vest.
Narc agent motherfucker, get on the ground right now!
What the fuck was that, Markus?
You were supposed to infiltrate the rave, not start a war. Tell that to the pricks who opened fire.
This is your fault.
I'm sending a support unit with some riot suppression gear. Fuck that! Tell them to bring a nuke!
Where the hell did this come from? Why are you acting like such a twat? What follows is a pretty fucking grim objective. As we tear gas the building and people file out, we have to, through a cloud of smoke, quickly pick out armed goons from clubgoers and gun them down. Yeah, now we're a dirty cop. We're a one-man execution squad. This part is dark. We then escort the ravers across town under heavy fire. And okay, look, we've escorted so many things across Kowloon at this point, I've skipped a few objectives, that I'm thinking maybe we are actually running out of steam. Anyway, talking about that, just as the story is getting started, we begin the penultimate mission. Lau calls Jack with a report of another motorcycle courier, so we chase it across town. On foot. Naturally.
He's gone inside the fish market.
Unattract agent, infiltrate and assess the situation.
They know I'm coming, it won't be easy.
You're the cop, Jack.
And this courier has led us to a meeting between Lucy Chen and the Enforcer. So, let's eavesdrop.
Those Americans are ruining my business. Half my couriers are out of action. You have to do something about them. Your couriers. You insolent little bitch.
This goes on for a while, so to cut a long story short, Liquid Soul hasn't quite cracked the Asian market like the Enforcer had hoped, so her superiors have told her to cut Chen loose.
Market. My family would not tolerate such a decision. You warn me? Was that a threat, Chen? Do you think for even a moment that you can intimidate me? Intimidate Mr. Big?
Shock horror! The Enforcer works for crack.
Oh shit.
What are we doing? Why is there a 9 on screen? Oh god. Welcome to the real hardest part of the game, and a pretty rad, if annoying, boss fight. We face off against a crew of bikers who cut through the building pulling hit and runs on Jack. This is where the auto-aim really is challenged. It has a hard time keeping up with these bikers. The most reliable way to get it to work is to stand directly in the path of the bikes, which carries no small amount of risk. But that's the rhythm. You have to intercept, then get out of dodge over and over again. And this is only more reliable, not totally. It's a special kind of horror to play chicken with a motorbike, hoping your auto-aim will play nice before it's too late. Plus, as the fight goes on, 2 and eventually 3 bikers start coming in simultaneously. It gets incredibly chaotic, and honestly, the drugs only help so much. And on that note, have I mentioned how drug tolerance and addiction carries across game overs? So, if you get dependent on drugs to make this easier, the fight actually gets harder the more you repeat it. It is a pretty fun fight with a really unique rhythm, and I did enjoy watching the dead bikers careen into a fiery explosion, even if that meant I still had a heavy metal object flying at me. Meanwhile, Markus has a stealth tailing section. It can't all be excitement. Luckily, the Enforcer is very oblivious. We follow her to a monastery, and with weapons confiscated, but not our drugs, we're led inside.
I have been expecting you, Agent Hill.
Confronting the head monk, he reveals that the Enforcer is his apprentice, and we won't be leaving alive.
And I regret to inform you of your own demise. Destroy him!
Oh yeah, this is exactly where I expected the theme of the game to play. This is the OP power-up moment, as I kick 18 monks in a row to death. Jack got the better fight. God damn it, Jelly Joe, your lyrics never work. So I take Liquid Soul and kill an old man in a single punch.
Daniels, Lau, I don't know if you're picking any of this up, but I'm opening the briefcase the enforcer left behind.
Recovering the Enforcer's briefcase, we find base blueprints and the truth of Liquid Soul.
It's made from endorphins and adrenaline. Those kidnapped ravers, they weren't slave labor to make Liquid Soul. They are Liquid Soul. They're material. Do you read me? Liquid Soul is made from people.
We've been to the USA, we've been to Asia, and now, at long last, we can go to Boss Island.
We can't come.
It's a very complicated situation, Agent.
Or not. With Crack HQ found, Daniels says she's taking a specialized team over to finish the job. And obviously, she has a point. Even more obviously, these two aren't going to listen, so they sneak in themselves. Once there, Jack tries to have a moment.
I know I'm not much of a cop.
No. We don't do this here.
But Marcus rejects the cliché. So instead, we get another. As so many games of the day and before ended, we have to tackle a large, generic, industrial cave base. It's a boring, brown environment filled with landmines and turrets, which are bastard puzzle enemies that require finding exactly the right spot in the environment to plink away at them, or if you get a little cheeky and still have some on hand, ecstasy to evade. It's a tough, linear gauntlet that sort of picks up on the whole buddy cop segment from earlier. We routinely swap between the two partners as they create a way into the base, covering each other from a distance, gathering evidence under fire, and eventually getting split up. I love that Marcus's segment ends with a tough-as-nails corridor brawl, where we have to steadily gain ground, taking out enemies laying an ambush and not blundering into turrets which will instantly shred us. Meanwhile, Jack, 2 jumps and he's grand. But not for long, as we get a jarring sequence of events. Jack stumbles across the body of a dead guard. On him, he finds a handwritten note, payment for Marcus Hill for taking out Eddie Jackson.
It's all bullshit, all of it bullshit.
And this is all it takes to make Jack completely lose it. And as his paranoia grows, in walks Daniels and Marcus.
That's Agent Hill, Jack. Put the gun down.
What are you doing, Jack?
Put the gun down, Jack.
Jack, put it down.
Take the shot, Agent Hill.
Jack, I don't know why you did it, but we can fix this. You gotta put the gun down.
Take the shot, Agent Hill.
Jack, you gotta keep it together.
Marcus, take the shot.
Jack, don't do this to me.
It's not what you think.
Take the goddamn shot!
Oh, I'm actually kind of sad about that.
What the hell is this?
And very confused about this.
Daniels?
When did you get changed, and where are we?
You run crack? How can you run Narc too?
Narc, crack, it's all the same thing. Think about it. What was the one goal both organizations had in common?
Drug dealers. You were using us to get rid of all your competition.
I'm kind of impressed that a story this stupid and loose, you could still snap, because this twist makes absolutely no sense. She says that using us to destroy Chen was taking out the competition, but you owned her. She wasn't competition. She was a distributor. You didn't even need us to take her out. You did that yourself. We contributed nothing to that besides pretense. We even rescued one of your competition, which was someone else you were supplying. Why even bring us on board to begin with and put us on the trail of Mr. Big?
The last obstacle in the way of total market domination was the one I'd created for myself. Narc, I got stuck. Then it dawned on me. Bring everyone here, all in one place, away from everything. And boom, problem solved.
Was this an experiment? Were they trying to see how bad a twist they could pull with the least possible story? I'm not really sure if I'm misunderstanding something or if it is as bad as it looks, because we've gone beneath schlock at this point. She created Narc to kill her competition, had us kill her underlings, and then, seeing that we're very dangerous, made us come to her evil lair and apparently bring us to the boss, who is a frail old man. I can see a few holes in this plot. I could think of so many better solutions to her problems, like stop supplying the people she doesn't want to, don't create an agency to investigate your own crimes, never stop abusing our trust. Hey, assuming you actually want to sell Liquid Soul, why aren't you misleading us into attacking crack suppliers? You know, take out other drug markets. I didn't exactly have expectations of this story. There are moments of promise, but this is impressively disorienting.
I need a new Lucy Chen. One last time. You a good cop or a bad cop?
I'm a great cop.
You are, hands down, one of the worst cops I've ever played. Loving the OST. Real good percussion.
Don't bother with Mr. Big. He's dying. He'll be dead in 6 weeks. Just leave him alone.
Why wait 6 weeks when I can...
My shades!
You can't kill my father.
Father? Shit. We've covered every twist in the book. That's for shooting me. And that's for being a bitch.
You gotta finish this. You gotta put down Mr. Big.
Alright. So, you're ready for this game to pretend it had a message?
You killed my daughter.
Yeah, you're next, asshole.
You really came all this way to kill me?
You kill young kids for profit? Yeah, you need to go away.
Money was never my motive. I got more money than God. My motives are much simpler. Staying alive, for one.
You probably should have let your daughter in on this, because she sure diddled the dog by bringing us here. In fact, all of her actions kind of run contrary to yours, and yours ain't so hot either.
My real motive is to open people's eyes.
To?
The moment.
The moment?
He tries to give Jack a message about how we lose our sense of childhood wonder, stop living in the moment, and turn to drugs as a dead-end means to get that magic back, and... Look, I think drug abuse is a bit more complicated than that, but let's focus on the real issue here. I don't think Jack has taken a driving lesson. He's not going to understand yours.
Hey, Big. I'm sorry to interrupt the Oscar clip, but I'm on a clock here.
See?
You turned to drugs thinking you could find the moment, but... that was a dead end, wasn't it?
Hey, buddy. Some moments I was an addict, but this moment... I'm a cop.
Sad.
It's a great way for a villain's speech to end. A tired, dispassionate, sad. Living in the moment, in a big mech. Okay, I can't stand the lack of music. Let's give it something. No, wait, no, wrong track. There we go. I'm sorry, Joe. You're not final boss material. You're monk-kicking music. And this boss sucks. He just cycles the same 2 attacks over and over again while you blink away at a cockpit. The most interesting aspect of it is that you're half dependent on your cover being broken, since that's also your source of ammo and health packs, so you can bait and sacrifice cover for resources. Once you piece together his incredibly repetitive rhythm, most of the damage you take will be brought on by impatience. But, after much too long, we shatter Mr. Big's operation. So, I'll let Curtis Mayfield play us out.
is over.
Shut up. That ending fucking sucks. The whole sequence, really, but I've got to go back and ask myself again, do I think Narc was an updated satire? Only instead of taking the piss out of 80s hysteria, it was mocking the modern day. And look, I know I occasionally read too much into things. I enjoy being that way. I like to give things the benefit of the doubt and try and pick apart what they may be going for. I think everything becomes more interesting if you approach it that way. And well, this final sequence is really strange for that. It repeatedly mocks how cliche it's being, how many twists it throws out back to back, while itself failing to realize how damaging those twists are to what little story led us up to this point. And this was not a story that could really take too many hits to begin with. We got an evil layer, a fake betrayal, a double crossing, then the bad guy makes a speech that isn't earned, and the game mocks him for the one bit of sentimentality it actually has. However out of nowhere it was. The thing is, making fun of the fact that you made a stupid generic ending is effectively the same as making one if that's all you've got. And this game missed so many opportunities to make shots up until now that I'm confident that this isn't a wink or a twitch. It's a shrug. Narc is a stupid game, but I also won't totally dismiss it because I undeniably had fun and I see some value in it. At least historically. It is a pick and mix of what was going on in gaming at the time, and as shallow as that sounds, it somehow managed to do a few things on par, if not better, than its higher budget rivals. And its approach to drugs as a power-up is an interesting starting point someone could pick up and run with. I liked it enough to wish it was better and fuller in some aspects. Mostly story, because some cutscenes give me a feeling that there were ideas and arcs that only got to exist as skeletons. I don't think there's a reality in which we look back and see Jack Fazensky and Marcus Hill as great protagonists, but there is definitely one in which people are at least fond of the quippy pricks. I don't think Narc belongs in the pile, but then there are actually very few games I feel should be totally forgotten to begin with. Yes, it scores low on originality and is undeniably insane, but there's still stuff to take away from it, and I'd be lying if I said it's all bad. So, thanks for joining me on this video that I'm sure YouTube's copyright system is going to love. I can't wait to tell the advertising form just how much I love drugs either. We'll do something a little lighter next time. We'll be going from junkies to an adrenaline junkie. If you want to support me in these videos, please spread this one around. If you want to support me more directly, I have a Patreon up. The lovely people scrolling past contribute to it. At $3, you get access to notes and scripts, and at $5, access to Q&A afterthought videos, where I tackle everything that didn't make it into the video proper and answer questions, obviously. Hope you all have a good night, and I'm not going to say how next year should go, because my statements wind up backfiring spectacularly. Well guys, as I was wrapping the video up, I found a Jelly Joe video from 2019.
Yo, what's up everybody? It's Jelly Joe Music, and today we're going to be making a beat out of some baby toys. For the ones that know me, know I had a daughter about 8 months ago, and I thought it'd be cool to take some of her toys and actually make a cool little beat out of it.
Good on him. I'm glad there is a happy ending here. It's more than Narc got.